Welcome to the Systems Thinking Certification Program, change and other confusing stuff. There seems to be several points of confusion on certain things at the moment, and hopefully this video should help clear them up. I'm almost fanatical about ensuring that anytime I make a change in this environment that the participants will see. I alter the date on this link right here so that it shows the last date of update, and there is a note on the updates element that explains what the change was, so that if you haven't been here for a few days and you come in here and this date is later than the last date that you were here, it's really recommended that you go to this page and read the change so that the things that have been changed won't catch you off guard. There is a new Navigating the Environment video, version 4, which is probably the most complete one to date, and it was recorded with me logged in as essentially a user, so all of the screens will look the same way that they will look to you when you log in and interact with the system, so that rather than having lots of menu items and things sprinkled around the screen that you won't see, they aren't there. It's just what you will see. Additionally, because this has become a recurring, ongoing program, self-paced, I said that I will go ahead and hold all of these web sessions on the dates that they were initially scheduled, though for an individual to attend one, you need to come to this page anytime within 15 minutes of the session itself, because the date and time will turn into a link, which if you click it will take you to a place where you provide your name and email address, and it will take you directly into the web session. I have indicated that at least 15 minutes before the scheduled session, I will turn this into a link. I've been getting here 20 or 25 minutes early. You may have to refresh this page to actually see the link, because the last time you were here it wasn't a link. So, and then additional session, in other words, I'll continue to do these on schedule for anybody who can manage to get through all of this content in the initial 12-week schedule, though it was sort of ludicrous to begin with to believe that with people's ever-changing priorities and schedules, they could actually get through 12 weeks of content in 12 weeks. So it's now a self-paced program. Get through it at a pace that you're comfortable with, that you can deal with in conjunction with your ongoing changes in priorities and schedules and other stuff. Now, to do that, that means that different people are ready for different web sessions at different times. I strongly urge that as you work through the content, which the intent is that you do that a week ahead of the scheduled web session. So for the Insight Maker stuff, people are going through it this week, and next week we'll have web sessions on it. When you're finished with a segment, you need to tell me that you're ready for a web session on that segment if it's something other than this stuff. Now, because there's no way of me knowing who's where at what time. So there is now a survey that you can click on, and you can indicate, I'm ready, I want a web session on this particular item, and you can submit it. And you can submit this form multiple times, and when you submit it, there's a link so that you can click and see what the survey results summary is to date, and I will reset this periodically. The other thing that I can't know is, or haven't been able to figure out, is because there are participants in this program in who knows how many time zones, what's the most appropriate time to do the next session? There is another survey here where you can submit your preferences for time zones for web sessions. and you can submit this multiple times also, and all of the times are in UTC. So, I'm currently in UTC -5 or -4, depending upon whether you think about daylight savings time or not. And whether I'm going to be willing to do a web session at 2 or 3 a.m. my time or not, it remains to be seen, though I will attempt to be as accommodating as possible. Additionally, what else is here? I added arrows to the content, hopefully to make it easier for people to find their way around, so that if you start here, you follow the arrows, and the optional ones have dashed lines, though I found out from the developers that the dashed lines don't show up in all browsers. They intend to get it fixed, but they don't know when. And as you follow the trail until you get to the end, then that's it. There are some of them which have, I'll find one someplace, such as this one. If you start here, follow the arrows, you get to this point where there's a double arrow, which essentially means you go in this direction and then come back and then continue. Because this particular item is relevant to 3 other nodes, it's not optional. So the double arrow was the only indicator that I thought made sense to say you need to go there and come back and then continue along the way. And then here you go there and come back and then go this way. So if it doesn't sort out, post a message and we'll get on with it. I think I have repeatedly indicated that as you're working through the material, please post your comments and questions to the appropriate discussion thread. When you bring your questions to the web sessions, I will do my best to answer them, though I get about 3 seconds to think about the question before I have to provide an answer. If you post your questions in the discussion groups, then myself and other people get an opportunity to think about them a bit and hopefully provide a much better answer, a much more appropriate and extensive answer. So I encourage you to post your perspectives about the content along with the assignments and your questions to the appropriate discussion thread. And I have turned most of them on. Some people seem to be racing ahead and doing quite well, so I didn't want them to be hampered because I hadn't got the discussion threads in place. So all of them up through the segment 10 are the discussion threads are in place. I mean, there are some people developing Gumu maps already. This is the calendar for the current scheduled items. There will be new ones scheduled when as identified, and looking at the dates in this order is it's not the way that we're typically used to looking at schedules. So there's also a calendar that's been implemented so that you can see the dates in the form you're used to looking at dates and times on the calendar schedule. And this will map to what's listed here. The other new thing that's here is this library function. DIGO is a research links management, has a numerous number of features. I have used it on and off for years. I use it to manage or keep track of all of the links that I find useful, and so that I don't have to go to the internet and search through everything else. I know that they're in my link library someplace. It's has an extensive set of capabilities that are available for free, and then there's a very reasonable price premier whatever feature also. And all of as participants in this certification program identify content that's relevant to the program, I've been tagging it under the STCP tag, so that all of the things that people have identified so far, links to different things, articles, documents, notes for things that came up and have been answered. So they're in here. A number of participants have already established DIGO library accounts, and they have linked to me, and we have linked back and forth. So, and I've asked the developers about figuring out how to make this light box a little bit bigger so that one doesn't have to scroll back and forth. Though, of course, you could always right-click on this and open it in a new tab so that you see all of it. And that's true of all of these links. Any link that opens in a light box, you could right-click on it. Even though this is a YouTube video that opens in a light box, you could always right-click on it and tell it to open it in a new tab so that you would actually be in YouTube itself watching the video. And all of the videos are done in HD, though some of them they usually come up by default at 480. You can switch them to 720 if what you're looking at would be easier to watch with a higher resolution. And at the moment, that's the extent of the things that I think are recent changes. I mean, this program's only 2 weeks old. So from my perspective, the changes seem to be settling down, and we'll see how that turns out. So thanks for being here, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.